Following some developing news, an explosion at a City Heights apartment complex, what crews say caused it. Days away from the inauguration, security measures being taken in the nation's capital as legal cases mount against Capitol rioters, and a new warning from the FBI. And how one major local hospital system is deviating from the county's tiered vaccination plan by prioritizing doses for those who need it the most. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Good morning to you. It is great to have you with us. I'm Jim Patton. We are just days away from the presidential inauguration. And as you can see from the video here, the area around the Capitol looking like a ghost town. Except for lawmakers and the thousands of National Guard troops, the area is blocked off to most as security measures ramp up in the wake of the Capitol violence. And as ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reports, federal authorities continuing to warn law enforcement about the potential for more violence.
In the wake of the deadly assault on the Capitol, alarming new warnings about possible violent threats in the week ahead.
We are seeing an extensive amount of concerning online chatter, I guess the best way I would describe it, about a number of events surrounding the inauguration.
The FBI is currently investigating a mix of suspected radicals it believes were present at the insurrection, who may be planning more violence. Supporters of QAnon, white supremacists, the Boogaloo, and Nazi sympathizers. And a new FBI bulletin obtained by ABC News warns of possible substantial danger from explosive devices during upcoming protests. The FBI says more than 100 arrests have been made in the wake of the Capitol attack. Robert Sanford, a retired firefighter from Pennsylvania, under arrest accused of lobbing a fire extinguisher at police. The lawyer for this man seen wearing horns in last week's attack telling CNN his client was following President Trump's orders.
He loved Trump, every word. He listened to him. He felt like he was answering the call of our president.
And we've just learned the Department of Justice Inspector General, along with the Departments of Defense, Interior, and Homeland Security, are reviewing their agencies' actions leading up to and including the day of the siege of the Capitol. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
As we have been reporting concerns of violence reaching well beyond D.C. Earlier this week, the FBI warning of plans for armed protests at state capitals. And overnight, ABC obtaining an FBI bulletin to law enforcement agencies, briefing them on attempted uses of explosive devices in the last several months and instructing them on what to look out for. And amid all the strife, just want to mention real quick that Vice President Mike Pence has called Vice President-elect Kamala Harris to congratulate her and to offer his assistance as she makes the transition. As far as the inauguration goes, President Trump's already announced that he won't be attending the ceremony. And this morning, the Associated Press reporting that the president plans to leave Washington, D.C. altogether Wednesday morning before the inauguration. There will be a ceremony for his departure before he reportedly leaves for Florida. Well, happening now, cleanup underway in City Heights, where an apartment complex explosion has injured at least one person and displaced dozens of others. And you're looking at a live picture here as the cleanup is proceeding. This happened around 8 this morning near University Avenue. Fire crews say there was a call about smoke before they got a second call reporting the explosion. Investigators say it was caused by hash oil, a concentrated cannabis product that we have seen cause similar explosions before. And you see the material that was just picked up there as we look at these live pictures. That may be part of the evidence of the material that in fact led to the explosion. Can't confirm that just yet, but it appears that it may be. One person was taken to the hospital. The Red Cross is helping 24 residents who are unable right now to go back home. As the county works to get more San Diegans vaccinated and health systems are rolling out their own COVID-19 vaccine plans, ABC 10 News reporter Nate Holmes joins us from home. And Nate, you see San Diego Health as one of the major health systems getting people protected from the virus.
UC San Diego Health began immunizing older patients Thursday against COVID-19. This marks the beginning of a new phase in the county's vaccine rollout. UCSD patients who are 65 or older are being contacted to schedule an appointment. According to the UT, UCSD plans to start immunizing 500 patients a day. But UCSD breaking slightly from the county's plan giving doses to patients they've classified as vulnerable to the virus. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says a person with cancer and various forms of lung, kidney, or heart disease have a greater risk of hospitalization or death. One of the big questions, how do people find out when they're eligible to get the vaccine? UC San Diego Health says patients will be contacted through their My UCSD Chart account or via phone. Again, this is slightly different from the county's vaccine rollout, which uses a new CalVac system, a state-run app. This will allow people to put in their information and find out when they're eligible, schedule an appointment, and sign up for email and text alerts. County leaders say the new system should be up and running in the next week to 10 days. Nate Holmes, ABC 10 News.
A new today, vaccine site opening in the South Bay along Imperial Beach Boulevard. Now, we've told you a lot about the super site at Petco Park, and earlier this week, another site opened in Coronado. This one is Imperial Beach, should help with access in the South Bay. Appointments are available for people who are in the eligible tiers, and you can schedule an appointment on the county's website. Meanwhile, coronavirus testing is coming to the Del Mar Fairgrounds this morning with a drive-through testing site in the parking lot. It's going to be open for the next month from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Fairground website says that testing is free and the results available within 48 hours. Appointments can be scheduled online. Happening today, student athletes and their parents all across the state, including groups from the South Bay to the North County, going to hold rallies urging the governor to allow all youth sports to return to play. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell lays out the factors that are being considered.
As the debate continues over whether or not youth sports should be allowed to continue in California, those who support kids returning back to play are working to send a message to Sacramento today. It's been 10 months since youth sports teams have had any playing time. The state locking things down because of the coronavirus pandemic. And those who support the grassroots effort Let Them Play initiative are keeping the pressure on Governor Newsom, each organizing rallies in support of reopening youth sports. Supervisor Jim Desmond, who supports this group, had this to say when asked about how he plans to tackle the pandemic while allowing kids to return to sports.
When they're home, they're wearing the mask. They're taking all the safety precautions. A lot of these kids will listen to the coach before they'll listen to their parents.
And this is where the CDC stands on this issue. On their website, it says the risk of a COVID-19 spread increased based on the number of people a participant interacts with, how close they physically are to others, and if they share equipment with multiple players. Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says right now is not the time to ignore the advice from health officials.
If you're facing third and long, you ought to really listen to football coaches. If you're facing a global pandemic, that is a situation where you ought to make sure you're listening to public health experts.
And these are the state guidelines. They've ranked each sport based on whether it's indoors or outdoors and then classified them under 3 categories: low contact, moderate contact, or high contact. They are then grouped by risk tier. Those in the purple include sports like cross country, swimming, and tennis, mostly outdoor sports with minimal contact. Then it's broken down to red, orange, and yellow. Under this plan, the sports in the purple tier could start practicing February 1st. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
President-elect Joe Biden unveiling part of his $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief plan. In addition to the $160 billion for vaccination efforts, he's calling for $1,400 stimulus checks for Americans and a boost in the minimum wage and $130 billion to help reopen schools. This comes as the death toll in the U.S. nears 400,000.
Countless families and friends left behind with unrelenting grief and guilt, anger and frustration. And the emptiness felt by the loss of life is compounded by the loss of our way of life.
Now, Biden says he will present that plan in his first appearance before a joint session of Congress.